everyone, and welcome to K-Pop Lyrics Decoded, where we take the difficult Korean grammar in K-pop songs and break it down into smaller, easier to understand little chunks. And today we're doing Cheer Up by Twice. Alright, so the first line of the chorus, we have cheer up baby, 좀 더 힘을 내. Let's listen to that. The first word we have is 좀, which comes from 조금, which means a little bit. The second word we have is 더, which means more. The third word we have is 힘을, which comes from 힘, which means strength or power, and which is our object marking particle. And then we have 내 from 내다, which means to make. Put it together, we have 힘을 내, which means cheer up. The translator translated this as give a little more. Alright, and the next sentence we have is 여자가 쉽게 마음을 주면 안 돼. Let's listen to that. The first word we have here is 여자가, which comes from 여자, which means girl or woman, and 가 is our subject marking particle. And then we have 쉽게, which means easily, and that comes from 쉽다, which means to be easy, and adding 게 to the end of the verb stem there makes it an adverb, 쉽게, easily. The next word we have is 마음을. 마음 is a contraction of the word 마음, which means heart. And in Korean, they like to shorten things a lot to make it easier to say, so instead of saying 마음, they just say 마음. And the blue word, the next word we have is 주면, which means if you give. And that comes from 주다, which means to give. And 면 is something you can add to the verb stem to mean if you do that verb. So 주면, if you give. And then we have 안 돼. Now, you can consider this a phrase if you want, like 안 돼, like no, don't do it, it doesn't work. There's no direct translation in English. 되다 means to become, and then 안 is a convenient little grammar point that you can add in front of a verb to make it negative. So 안 돼 technically would be not become, but I would translate this as it doesn't work. No way. Okay, let's look at the next line. We have 그래야 네가 날 더 좋아하게 될걸. Let's listen to that. So the first word, 그래야, I would just translate that as yep, or that's right. And then we've got 네가, which comes from the word 너, which means you. That's the informal version of that word. And then 가 is our subject marking particle. But when the word 너 is used with the particle 가, it becomes 네가, not 너가. And then we've got 날, the green word there, 날. That comes from 나, which is the informal word for me, and 를, which is our object marking particle. But, as you know, in Korean, we really like to shorten things, so instead of saying 나를, you can also say 날. Okay, the next word, the blue one, is 더, which just means more. And then the pink word there, 좋아하게, comes from 좋아하다. And then we have 게, 되다, added to the end of that, which means to make something happen. Okay, so to make you like something is 좋아하게 되다. Okay, and then the blue word here, we've got 될걸, which comes from 되다 that we just talked about. But adding 걸 to the end of something is an informal way of saying you think something will happen. Okay, now this is never used in writing, and it's really informal. So please don't use this with your Korean teachers. So saying 좋아하게 될걸 is almost like saying I think it will make you like me, right? So 그래야 Yep. 네가, you, 날, me, 더, more, 좋아하게 될 걸. It will make you like me. Okay? Then the next sentence we have is 태연하게 연기할래 아무렇지 않게. The first word, 태연하게, comes from 태연하다, which means to be calm or cool. Any Girls' Generation fans out there? Yes, you are hearing the word 태연. Adding 게 to the end of 태연하다 makes it an adverb. So, if 태연하다 means to be calm or cool, 태연하게 means coolly. Okay? And then 연기할래, the second word, comes from 연기하다, which means to perform or act. So, adding 을래 to the end of it is saying you will do it in the future. Okay? So, 태연하게 연기할래 means I will act cool. Okay? And then the third word, 아무렇지 않게, is actually two words, but I put these together because saying 아무렇지 않게 would mean like it's nothing. So, I will act coolly like it's nothing. 태연하게, coolly. 연기할래, I'll act 아무렇지 않게, like it's nothing. So, we translated this as I'll pretend that I don't care. Alright, the next line we have is 내가 널 좋아하는 맘 모르게. Let's listen to that. Okay, the first word we have is 내가, which comes from 나, which is the informal word from me, and 가, which is our subject marking particle. But used together, that becomes 내가. Okay, the second word we have, the orange one, comes from 너, which means you in informal language, and 를, which is our object marking particle. But it's another contraction. We like to make things shorter in Korean, so instead of saying 너를, it's 널. Then the next word we have, the green one, is 좋아하는, and that comes from 좋아하다, which means to like something. And then adding 는 to the end of it makes it an adjective, which is acting on the word 마음, which we talked about before, means heart. And it's a contraction of the full word 마음, but it's just easier to say 마음. Okay? And then the very last word, the pink one, 모르게, which comes from 모르다, which means to not know. And 모르게 can mean secretly, but in this case, when you add 게 to the end of the verb, it means making something happen. We talked about that before. So, 내가, me, 널, you, 좋아하는, liking, 마음, heart, 모르게, so that you don't know. Okay? So that you don't notice my feelings for you. Or so that you don't notice my heart that likes you. Alright, let's listen to the chorus one more time to see if it makes sense. Are you starting to understand it? I hope you are. Thank you for listening, and please leave a comment below letting me know which song I should decode next. 안녕히 계세요.